It is 6 a.m. and I didn't wash my makeup off last night. I was so tired. But I am removing my makeup to then shower because today I am flying back to Miami from London. I feel pretty good. Not that I'm a pro at the job, but I've been through it once, so my anxiety is less, definitely less. I wouldn't say it's gone, it's just less. All right, it's time to get ready. Come with me on today's adventure. So the coffee here is instant, but it's good. I don't mind. Just not the decaf. And isn't this cute? Instead of like creamer, oh, that looks dirty, but that's because I made a mess of it. They give you these little tiny skimmed milk packets. Okay, my makeup is all done. I've curled my hair. I've had my cup of coffee. This is actually coffee number 2. The little doily is stuck to the bottom. And just kind of packed my bag. So if you have anything liquid, and on the last time I came, they included creams. So I put whatever cream makeup I have in here just to be safe, rather be safe than sorry. Has to fit in a small bag like this. So I went ahead and pulled out all my liquids to get that ready. And I wanted to show you a couple of little keychains I bought. Look at how cute this little changing of the guards bear is. I think that's what it's called. What are they called? So yeah, these are the only souvenirs I bought this time. Just a little bit. I still have, it's 7:42. I have to be downstairs at 8:45. I'm just relaxing. I'm watching the British news, the world news. They're kind of talking about everything. Yeah, so that's it. I will get ready shortly and then I'll be on my way. I did look at my pre-orders as far as the meals go. I have 22 of them, but that's all I'm going to do as far as work goes for right now. I just want to be namaste for the time being. I'll be in work mode when I have to be in work mode. But for right now, I'm just gonna have some calmness, some peace as I drink my coffee. And I am going to have one of these jam sandwich creams with my coffee. Oops. They're like dusted with sugar. How cute is that? Oh, and it's stamped M&S for Marks and Spencer. I'm all packed up and ready to go. I'm going to be the number 2, the galley person, on this wide-body IPD International Premium Destination. Now, on my last video, I talked about how it's my first time in this position, and this position is very overwhelming. It's a difficult position, but you know what? With the help of my crew, I was able to pull through on the way down here, and I'll have that same help, and I'm confident that I can pull through again. So it's time to head back to the USA. Time to fly from London Heathrow to Miami. Okay, so I'm back. I'm back home after working the London Heathrow trip, or after working the trip from London Heathrow to Miami as flight attendant number 2, which is the galley person, which is in charge of all of the meals for main cabin and premium economy, which is most of the passengers on that plane. And if you did not know that I was super anxious about working this position for the first time, then watch my last video, the video right before this, because I was so prepared to pay someone to trade positions, but no one wanted to trade. But I did get trained by some other flight attendants, and I am so grateful that I had wonderful crew members that just helped me with what I needed to learn. And I just kept reminding myself, everyone has a first time, no matter what you're doing. If you're doing it for the first time, it's your first time experience. And for something like this, it was a first time experience that caused me a lot of anxiety, and I was nervous, and I was just so glad that I am done. So in the last video is number 2. And so the second part of this trip, so it was the flight down there from Miami to London Heathrow. Then we had a 24-hour layover. And then on the third day, we flew from London Heathrow back to Miami, and I worked the same position. So when you're a certain position, you're a certain position for that entire trip. So again, on the way back, I was the number 2. So I had arrived in London the morning prior, and I did take a nap, and then I did go out and I bought some souvenirs, and I did a little bit of sightseeing, went out walking, had a glass of red wine in an English pub. It was a nice time. I'll show you my souvenirs. Let me go grab them. I was really looking for a Paddington keychain, but I didn't have any success in finding one. But I did find a couple of cute little keychains. So this one is a little bear who's like a changing of the guards bear, and then it also has this strap right here, has the British flag, the red bus, it says London, and then a little British heart that says London. So I bought this keychain, and then I bought this other keychain. That same thing is like the changing of the guard teddy bear, but with this little puff ball on the bottom, and it feels so nice, with a little London strap. Oh, on the other side it says England. So London, England, and then the little Great Britain heart, it says London. So these were the only souvenirs I bought, the 2 keychains, and it was £14 for 2 keychains. So I went out, but then I was back in my hotel early, and I was in bed by 10 to try to get a good night's sleep, because our pickup was going to be 8:45 the following morning. And since this was the number 2 position, I wanted to make sure that I got enough rest, because it's a position that requires you to be like on your, on your feet, thinking quickly, acting quickly. So our pickup was 8:45. I went downstairs about 8:30 a.m. and then the rest of the crew started showing up. And at 8:45 we were all on the bus, and then we started our journey back to London Heathrow. And that bus ride was about an hour long. And it's inside of this luxurious motor coach with little curtains, little reclining seats. It's just nice. It's a comfortable ride. I closed my eyes and tried to nod off a little. It was just like a quiet, subdued, calming ride for an hour, just watching the London city just pass by Buckingham Palace and some other notable places. So it's nice. Once we got to London Heathrow, we have a private security, so we had someone escort us into this area where we get screened just like passengers, except it's just for crew and like the bus driver. So we went in there, and when you are returning from London, they are very strict about their rules. You have to fit all of your liquids in this bag right here. So see, right here's where the zipper is. So I had to put like my makeup, my liquid makeup, my mouthwash, my toothpaste, anything that is a liquid has to go in there, and you have to be able to close it. So I luckily was able to fit everything and zip it closed. I did leave some makeup and other things that just didn't fit in here that it was just time to toss. I threw those away at the hotel, and I left my toothpaste behind, because in the US you can travel with a bigger toothpaste, but in the UK you can't, and mine was over. I looked up what the limit was and mine was over that, so I just left it behind. So it is an excessive screening process. You know, like you were to do in regular like transportation, TSA security, you do the same. Remove my cardigan. The men remove their belts, their watches. I removed my shoes because I think there's like metal in my heel. So did all of that. And sometimes some people get hung up in that screening, and a couple of flight attendants did. And this flight attendant, he lost his Rolex, and he said his heart was going like this on the airplane. He said, "Have you seen my watch?" He said, "I don't remember." He said, "I don't remember the last time I had it other than security." So he had a feeling he left it back in security, which is a shame. He bought it, I think he said, at the Rolex factory in Geneva, I think he said, a long time ago. So I felt bad for him. I hope that he locates his watch, his lost Rolex. Then the bus actually drives on the tarmac. You're driving on the airport grounds next to the other big airplanes, British Airways, Virgin Atlantic, other airlines from other countries. And it's just so neat because you're like driving next to those huge aircraft. But that's because you have special access, and the bus driver has special access. And then he drove us right to the gate that we were at. We got off the bus, got our luggage, and then we have security escort us on an elevator up. Security escorts us up to the gate. We scan our badges. We get on the airplane. I did my security and safety checks, and then catering. The UK catering was there waiting for me to go over all of the paperwork and the catering that was being delivered for that flight. So I did that. I did well setting up with my time management skills. I remembered what to do from the way down there. Plus, I'd also taken excessive notes. So I felt like I was on my game doing all of that. So as passengers are in the front boarding and being assisted by the other flight attendants, I'm busy in the back counting meals, making sure that I have all of my pre-orders and my specials there, like vegan meals or bland meals or gluten-free meals. Then I'm preparing my beverage toppers that they will use on top of the carts when they go out and do drink service. And the thing that's different between like the domestic flights and the international premium destination flights are that these toppers also include a great big red wine and a great big white wine on each topper. Then once the plane pushes back, I put the meals to cook on 275 for 40 minutes. And during that time of boarding, I also make a map of the airplane, and I divide the airplane in half for aircraft right, aircraft left, and then I go and I label every seat that has a special meal on the right side. I label every seat that has a special meal on the left side. So right before we get ready to hand out meals, those meals will be distributed first, because it's just very confusing to do it in between things. I had 22 special meals on this flight. So like I said, I did well getting the galley set up. My time management skills were very good there. The UK catering team was wonderful. They give me everything. So they give me all of my meals, all of like the liqueurs, the minis, the wine, the beer, the sodas, the juices, the water, the teas, the special meals, the different foods, the snacks. I also get a couple boxes of snacks to put out for mid-flight. It was like potato chips and little mini chocolate chip cookies and some popcorn, some other little snacks. But yeah, the UK catering team was just great. Our meals for the vegetarian option, it was like a ziti pasta with the red sauce. And then the non-vegetarian option was like a chicken, like a kind of like a chicken meatball with red sauce, and then like a couscous. Both of them looked very good. I tried the the pasta dish, and that was good. It came with like a side salad, a roll with butter, cheese, like some soft cheese, the Laughing Cow cheese, and some crackers. So it's quite a bit of food. We had 3 services on the way back from London. We had 3 services and our flight time was longer. So our flight time going there was 8 hours and 15 minutes. Coming back, it was just under 10 hours. It was 9 hours and 45 minutes. And we had 3 services. We had like the lunch. It was like a lunch and beverage service. Then we do trash pickup. Then we had an ice cream service with beverage, and then we do trash pickup, and then we do before landing like snack. It's a hot handheld. It was like a hot handheld sandwich, either beef and vegetable or it was a vegetable option. It kind of looked like a hot pocket, but like a fancier hot pocket. So it was this pastry dough filled with either beef and vegetable or with like roasted red peppers and cheese and some other stuff. But just preparing for the whole meals, like in the premium economy, their trays have saran wrap on. So you have to make sure you pull all that saran wrap off. That way, when the flight attendants that are doing the meal service do deliver the meals, it's less work for them to do and they could be much more efficient. So I did stuff like unwrap the trays, heat the food, serve appropriate trays to the correct cabins. So we're helping premium economy and then main cabin. And then we did get a break again, and it was around 2 hours and 15 minutes. I would say the thing that I struggled with the most, and it shouldn't really sound like much of a struggle, but it was for me, it was making the trash cards. So I made the trash cards the way that I thought they showed me how to make it. But then from the side of corner of my eye, I noticed a couple of times one flight attendant adjusting it. Now, I'll have to get clarification later on to make sure that I'm doing it correctly, or if it's just it's just a little thing like preference. People just tweak it a little bit. Like what she did was just a little tweak. It wasn't anything too different. But I just want to make sure that it wasn't like faulty or something that I can correct. But that was probably like walking away from this trip, like I made a mental note of that to learn how to properly make a trash card or make sure I'm doing it correctly. I also, being the number 2, I had to arrange the breaks for the flight attendants that were working with me in the back. And then one of the other things that I had to do as flight attendant number 2 was arrange the breaks for the flight attendants in the back working with me, and then report that to the number 1. 3 of us in the back went on the first break, and then 2 went on the second break, so I had to figure that out. Just in this position, working the number 2, you're under a lot of pressure to get everything served on time, especially for those breaks. So the front half, they finished up as we were wrapping up, and that caused a little bit of like tension. You know, I could see the flight attendants struggling to get it done because then all of a sudden their break time is going to start getting eaten into. So it's one of those things that has to be a collective effort in order for us to all enjoy those breaks and for both the first and second to have equal time. So I did feel pressure there. I'm so relieved that this trip is over. I am so relieved. On the other hand, I am happy that I did it because it's one of these fears. I've always feared being the number 2 on an IPD trip, an international premium destination, because it just seems so overwhelming and so much work. But in hindsight, you know what? It was far worse in my head than it actually was. Would I do it again? Probably do it again. I think I'll have to do it again at some point. But do I want to do it again? Probably. I'll say probably. Another little tidbit of information. Once we leave London Heathrow, when we're talking about times, then we go by Miami time, because the number 1 told me, okay, first break's going to start at 9:30, and I was like, okay, 9:30, what time? She said, oh, Miami time. So I made sure on my world clock, I have Miami time in there, because my watch, I'm not wearing the smartwatch at the moment. I'm wearing this watch that my dad gave me, so this doesn't change with GPS, obviously. So yeah, I pulled up my world clock and then started going by Miami time. We were back in Miami around 5 o'clock, and then like all other passengers, we have to go through customs and immigration. We do have a line. If you don't have global entry, then there's a special line for crew members and diplomats. I had a 7 p.m. commuter flight booked to come back to Orlando, back home, but I actually didn't leave Miami until around midnight. And that is because that 7 o'clock flight was oversold. There was no room for me, so I waited around for this other flight that kept getting delayed. Finally left around midnight, but once we were on that plane, I wasn't sure I was going to get home. Once we were on that plane, the pilot made an announcement that they had to check the wheels on one of the landing gear, and they needed to run it by maintenance to make sure that they could fly with the condition of what it was in. And they could fly with that condition. I guess the pilot said he just had to check it in Orlando again before making their way back to Miami. It was a bumpy ride. It was so bumpy, but I was so tired. So I sat in the first seat in first class, and next to me was another flight attendant, and I'm sure she had work that day as well, because we both like fell asleep like this. But then we both woke up when the ride started getting bumpy, and that was very close to landing, and it was a scary landing. This has never happened to me before, working on a flight or being a passenger. The pilot came on and he said, we have to go do another go around to land. The visibility is minimal, so we have to land using an auto system. And he says that auto system, we have to make sure that everyone's phones is on airplane mode, because that can interfere with it. So I was like, oh my God, like I'd never heard that. Yes, I know all phones are supposed to be on airplane mode, but this is the first time that I hear exactly what it could interfere with. So the landing was smoother than I had anticipated because of the preparation that he had given us. So that was good. But it was a little scary after all. It was bumpy, but it was, I thought it was going to be worse in my head. Once I landed, I drove home 30 minutes. And I walked in my house just before 2 a.m. I slept till 11 a.m. this morning, and I did my laundry, washed my uniform, packed my bag, because tomorrow I do a 2-day trip. Do it all over again. Not London. I'm flying to Atlanta, and then I'm having a layover in Orlando, here, my hometown. But I'll stay at the hotel. I'm not going to come home. It's only like a 12-hour layover. But that's it. That was my experience being the number 2 flight attendant, the galley person in the back of the aircraft, in charge of most of the meals and everything on that plane as far as food goes, on my way back from London to Miami. I'm done with that. I finished it. I am so relieved to say that that is now under my belt. So that's it. That's where I'm going to end this video. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And to see future videos, if you have not yet subscribed, then please subscribe to my channel so I can share with you my life as a flight attendant. Again, if you have any questions or comments, or you want to know something specific, let me know in the comments. And if I can answer it, I'm happy to answer it. All right, till next time. Bye, guys.